Welcome to Locales Unknown. This podcast gives you the tools you need to choose your next travel destination and the tips you want to be able to explore like a local. Here are your hosts, Chris and Winfield.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Locales Unknown. Today, we are here with Nathan. He is the lead guitarist of a band called Velotrol. Exactly. What's going on, man? Great to have you on, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, guys, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here and to share a few things about my lifestyle, my life here in Brazil and in Minas. Thanks again for the invite. And it will be a nice chat today.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Thanks for coming on. And you guys just had a chance meeting recently, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Last week? Yeah.
We did. Exactly. Yeah. Nathan was performing at a Halloween party at a tennis club here where I am in my wife's hometown of Itaúna in Minas Gerais. And I went up to him after the show and I said, I love the music, man. Love the lyrics. Let's stay in touch, and that's how connections happen organically, and that's what's great about meeting people all over the world.
Yeah, it's very, very nice because after all this COVID situation around the world, we still can make friends, make connections in the real world, man. Not only by internet. That is very cool too.
Exactly. It's been a while too. When was your last live show, Nathan? Like a couple of years ago?
Well, was about a year and a half ago.
Wow.
And then we started to do lives, on YouTube and Instagram, and no public, no people watching us, and was very hard to face it. But I think at the end was a good thing because our psychology state was suffering a little less than we expected, because every week we are working on, the next live will be on that style. We got to figure out some problems and work these things, By the end of all this situation, all those lives that we don't like so much in all the pandemic situation was good to us,
No, exactly, and that's what's hard to find that balance with, because when you're playing live on a live stream on the internet, you don't have the crowd, you don't have the emotion of the people to build you up, to encourage you. You're just staring at a screen, and it feels staged, to say the least, right? But I'm glad that things are finally getting back to normal and that you're able to tour and able to do things like that. So tell us a little bit about how you got interested in rock and roll. How did you learn to play guitar? What's your story with that?
Well, I started very soon when I was about 8 or 9 years old. A friend of mine from church came to me and with a skate under one arm and a cassette, in the other hand, telling me, "Hey, man, this is it, man. That's the thing, man. Skate and rock and roll." And I said, all right, I'm on it. So after a few years, I got my cousin that started to get guitar lessons, nylon. And I think, well, that could be cool. So I started when about 8 or 9. And since then, I became addicted to it. I practice almost every day of my life. I live this. I got this touch with Deep Purple, Jimi Hendrix, a few bands here from Brazil, Oficina G3, Resgate, that are bands, gospel bands here, that got this Christian message. They are very good too. Iron Maiden. So I got addicted to this way of life, And then I'm learning a few chords in the church, And after I was, learning by myself. So this was in the beginning of the 2000s, 2000, 2001. So about 2010, I got a lesson, right, man? So, and internet came and things got easier to getting access to information. And YouTube is a very good teacher for everything. And this is it, man. I wasn't afraid to learn and to get in risky situations, in the musical environment. And this is it, man. When I was about 20, I'm 30 now. I started to play professionally. So I play in bands here in the town with singers, cover bands. I got my autoral band one time. That was my background till 2017. I met the guys in Velotrol. That is a huge band in our city. We live here in Belo Horizonte. It's the capital of the state of Minas Gerais. And we got this band has a huge name in all these towns around us. And I said goodbye to all the other projects because the agenda is very it's full of gigs. We got a lot of work to do. So I'm focused on Velotrol since 2017, which is my main job.
Now that's great. And a couple of things that you mentioned there that I wanted to pick up on: getting into risky situations, but finding a way to manage. And that's kind of something we talk about here on the podcast quite a bit, as just traveling as a similar analogy, because you go to a place, you might not know the language, you might not know anybody, but you want to go there and explore and try new things. And that's what learning a new skill like music is just about too, right?
Yeah,
you have to put yourself in the deep end and figure out how to survive. And your story is great because, like you said, you're 30 now. You've been doing this for 22 years. But sometimes it takes a long time just to be able to get that big break and to, as you said, to work with Velotrol after working on so many gigs and trying to find your way for a while. So that's inspirational.
Whoa, thanks a lot.
And for our listeners as well, some context about Minas Gerais. So Minas Gerais actually means general mines in English. And this was a state that basically had the entire wealth of Brazil once Brazil was discovered by the Portuguese. First discovered Pernambuco, the Dutch, and then the Portuguese came 1565. But Minas Gerais is pretty far inland. It borders both Rio and Sao Paulo state. So if you're looking at a map, it's kind of a triangle. But the state is the size of France, the population of 25 million people. So it's kind of a country in its own right. What's really interesting as well is the culture is very distinct. It's a very different culture from the beach of Rio, from the coffee and city urban life of Sao Paulo. So Nathan, tell us a bit more about what it means to be Mineiro and the identity of being from Minas.
Well, we don't have a lot this culture with beach, and sun and bikinis. Our way of life. I'm here in this context of Belo Horizonte. We got this culture of bars, man. With all the time we're going to bars to drink some more and hang out, man. It's very cool. We got this way of life here. It's very nice. We love music. We love to go out and watch people play some music to us. We got this cultural thing that's very, very strange here in Brazil. We got the Clube da Esquina. Here is a cultural group, a musical group that got famous around the world because has Milton Nascimento. They started here. So we got this background here. And so we have Sepultura também. It's from our town. So we got all these tribes, man. These guys that came from jazz and Brazilian music. And we got the metal scene here too. Was very strange, especially in the 80s and 90s. Today, I think that it's more weak, but we got the rap too. The young people are all into rap and funk, funky carioca that came from Brazil.
Wow.
It's very different, totally different from the American funk, man. But it's very cool. I think that funk made in Brazil, the Brazilian funk, let me call it like that. To me, in my opinion, it's a voice to people that don't have a lot of chances in life. People that could go to be a criminal or something like that. So funk, it's an open door to them, man. We got a lot of these DJs or rappers, we call it MCs, and these guys are changing their mind, their lives of their families and people around them. So I think that it's very cool. We got these people that don't like, oh man, I hate this. This is not music. This only talk about boobs and sex. But man, it's the way that people express themselves. I think that art and music need this, man. So they're making money. They are changing their realities. It's important.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's an expression of self, man, because music around the world is an outlet to be able to expand your voice, beyond just your little village, town, city, whatever. But it's a culmination of everything you've experienced in life and being able to have that creative juice and say it in a way that's, over a good track or something that resonates with other people. And you went and started all of that off by saying that Minas Gerais is known for partying and bars. I'm going to sit here in the States and tell you that's what Brazil is known for, man. Bikinis, sun, beaches, parties. But it's so much more than that, I think. And the more and more I meet people from down there or interact, it's just a good, lighthearted spirit. And the interaction amongst people just goes so much more than just what you're doing at the party, but the community that it creates and the bonds that really just seem to be lifelong, man. So to hear Minas Gerais, this area, just not Sao Paulo, which is very well known, not Rio, which is very well known. Why do you think it's so much roots in music, or so many musically inclined people come out of the area?
Well, I think that is we got this this heritage, about as people that were traditional, big families, all that's things. So that's how things works here, it's a little bit country. I don't know. Well, so I think that here we got these meetings, at bar. When we say that we're going to bar, it's never. I don't think that it's always a party, but we ever could sit on a table, open our beer, and talk a lot, man. So we got this. I think that in Rio got this too, because the samba started something like more or less like that, man. People getting around and play some music and showing things and do the stuff. Here in Minas, people are more, how can I say, insisting to things works well. We are, well, we tried everything on music to get it perfect. We got this, man. We a little bit annoying when we are working on it. And so I think that when we go to a bar and meet these guys, we build, those friendships, and we know some people that are very good in something, and we learn from them. And then, oh well, let's play together. It's a small town, man. We can hang out every day and learn. So I think that's the result of a good musicians here, and very different too, so I think that this is it.
Yeah.
No, exactly right. So you have that not only collaborative space where people can bounce ideas off of one another, but as you mentioned earlier, Minas has a lot of different genres of music. You have sertanejo, you have hockey, rock in English, happy, rap in English as well, a funk, which is, as you said, there isn't any comparison directly, but also for some other generations, bossa nova as well, which I guess started in Rio but kind of migrated into the interior. So there's a lot of, not only, as you said, you sit down at a table, you talk, you bounce ideas off of each other, but the music scene is really growing. And so in that respect, Savassi is probably the best part of Vega for going out, for all the bars and everything. Jack's Rock Bar I went to a long time ago. Why don't you tell our listeners some of your favorite places and where they should go to hang out when they're in Belo Horizonte?
Well, we got a lot of very cool places. Yeah. So you mentioned it, Jack Rock Bar, that it's a famous rock bar here. It's a nice venue to watch a show, rock band. My band, we say that it's our home there, man, and it's very cool. We got this hot dog that stays in front of Jack Rock Bar. That is, we call it after. It's hot dog do Viana. It's Vianas. And after this show in Jack, we sit down next to this hot dog car, and we drink some beer, eat some hot dog, and hang out, man. It's very cool there. So in these days, we got on one street here in another neighborhood, but near of Savassi, called Floresta, which means forest. We got this street called Sapucaí. There is a lot of people gathering there. We got this a great number of bars and different restaurants, and got this nice view of the city. So it's very cool, man. It's very, very nice. Well, let me think on other places. We got this small, these tiny bars that we call boteco here.
Mm-hmm.
It's our name for little bar, tiny bars, tiny pubs. Which are the places we like to go, man. We got this one in Floresta too, called I forgot the name, man. I forget it. I will remember the name.
That's okay. It'll come back.
Yeah.
But while you're thinking of it, go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna say, while you're thinking of it, man, I wanted to ask you what's the name for the mini bar or the small bars?
Boteco.
Boteco.
Mm-hmm.
Boteco.
I'd love to know more about that, because I've been a bunch of other countries, specifically in Southeast Asia, where I asked for more of a local bar, and I've actually been guided to a place where it's more of someone's living room, not a place where it's actually a bar, man. So can you describe some of these mini bars for us? Because I think when we're sitting here and a lot of our audience is from America, a smaller bar just maybe means less seating. But in other countries, it just means literally a table, 4 chairs outside someone's house, you know?
Yeah, it's something like that. But we got different size here. We call boteco because they are not this huge branches, you know. It's not like McDonald's or something like that. It's like that familiar thing that the dad or the grandpa opened it 40 years ago, and then after the passing of the grandpa came to daddy, so the son helps the dad. So we got these things, but it's very simple. You know, when you get in, sometimes you'll be only a table and 4 chairs, and you buy your beer and you stay on the streets drinking in front of it. Here in Brazil, we can drink in the streets. We don't have any problems, you know. So that's what is more common here. We go to a place, we stay in front of it, and we buy our beer, and we take I don't know, we talk to each other all night long, man. So when we got the time to close this bar, we go to other ones that stay till later, and we got this migrational, you know, thing that when we close this one, oh yeah, that one could be open. Let's go to there. You know, that is very our thing here. And in
we know all about that up here too. Winfield can attest to that too.
When I go to there, I will do
it. Kind of a comparison for our listeners from the Northeast or people who have been to New York, for botecos is kind of a little bit less of a bodega, but a bodega with a liquor license.
Bodega is a name that people call it here, but I think that is later on, you know. But bodega.
Sorry, man, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, you're not interrupting me.
I was going to say, you know, I love that you shed light on the fact that it is just a casual environment, nothing so formal. And sometimes you just go outside and stand in front of the place and drink your beers. So that I believe that's a little bit misunderstood here in the United States when people bring that cultural aspect and just kind of stand outside, whether it be their personal property or outside an establishment and drinking. Sometimes, although, you know, it might be frowned upon, that's actually a huge cultural element, you know, within certain demographics that bring that into America. So, you know, hearing that that's the norm down there kind of sheds some light onto why, you know, some people of different cultures are doing it up here in the U.S. because it gets misunderstood a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm. Well, that I understand it, man. It's this cultural differences are very. Sometimes it can annoy someone and do not annoy other people. So I try to understand everyone on it. So we got this. Sorry?
No, sorry. Go ahead.
So we got this culture here, man. It's very cool. And this is it.
So in terms of Belo Horizonte actually means beautiful horizon in English. So it's hard to put forth how beautiful the city is because it's kind of a mixture of valleys with rolling hills. Kind of think of San Francisco when you think in terms of the topography, very steep hills, very mountainous. But all in all, the mountains are pretty low in terms of altitude. But there's so much to see outside of the city, so many national parks, Serra do Canastra, the list goes on and on, so many waterfalls. It's really a state of nature. So why don't you tell us a few places that you like that are outside the city that you can get into adventures and have some natural experiences?
Well, I'm this guy, man, that pass a lot of hours in her room practicing. So I got this ex-girlfriend that was more natural thing, you know, more hippie style of way of style, sorry. So we go out in a very small town that we got next to us called Macacos. which means monkeys. And it's a very with a lot of trees, and this we got these cabins on the inside of the forest. It's very very beautiful, man. So that was my experience with that. And sometimes I played too in a s- in a mountain called Serra do Cipo. It's a mountain range, sorry. And we got there has a lot of waterfalls, and a lot of people go there to hang out and enjoy the nature, all the things. So Serra do Cipó is one of the most um places that people go out, man, because it's next very near to us here, about 1 hour driving, and got this. You can walking through the forest, but I'm not this kind of guy that go out and you know advent. I like to say that I'm not in the Indiana Jones movies, you know.
You're a city guy. All right.
Yeah.
You just like the fact that you know it's there if you ever want it, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's cool. I recognize that I need to do this kind of thing more often.
Yeah, but
Well,
but as you said, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
No, I was going to say we're actually having this conversation in October, and I know that I'm actually heading down at the beginning of December to Minas Gerais, and Winfield is already there at the moment. So I'm on the flip side, Nathan. I'm actually one for the nature, less of the city. So hearing that all of those options are there, I mean, I've done a ton of research just in and around the area about the national parks and where to go. So, I'm very excited for that, but also nothing beats having an ice cold beer after a long hike out in nature when you're filthy, when you just want to get back, clean up, and enjoy a hard days of hiking. So keep those suggestions coming, man. I want to know where to go afterwards.
Well, when you come here, you already are invited to go out with me, man. I will learn. We will learn. I will help you with the language, and you will help me with the nature. All those things. I got my rainbow knife, and
nice. Yeah.
I'll be ready.
All right, I'm gonna walk behind you then.
No, and that's it's interesting when you talk about nature, because if you walk around Beigao or Belo Horizonte, it really feels like a natural city because there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of greenery, there's actually a lot of nature in the city. But something also that we have to talk about is Mineiro cuisine. The food is delicious. The tropero,
I forget
the
about that.
tutu. We could go on for days about it. Tell us some of your favorites, Nathan, and what do you recommend people to try when they're in Minas?
Well, the first thing that we need to eat when we step here in Belo Horizonte or any city in our state is pão de queijo, which means bread or bread of cheese or cheese bread. I don't know. It's a bread made with cheese. It's very nice, very cool. When you go in other states, Rio de Janeiro or São Paulo or Bahia, it's not like ours, man. It's different, We got this way that we make this. It's very nice. Pão de queijo with some coffee. Very nice to start the day or to end the day. So tropeiro too is a very nice food here. If I'm not wrong, it's a food that came with the slaves or when we got this black page in our history. But it's a heritage, man. It's very cool because it's made with beans and we could put sausage. It's very most people will not feel comfortable to eat it, but it's amazing, man. It's I insist to people to prove it, and we got feijoada too. It's another think that the slaves and black people bring to our country, that it's very nice, very cool.
If I can ask, when you say that people won't feel comfortable eating, is it because of the history of the dish, or is
No,
it the
no, no,
dish
no.
itself?
No. It's because it has a lot of ingredients,
Okay.
beans, sausage. We got other elements that I don't know the name in English, but I
Different
There's a
parts
lot
of the
going on. Okay.
eggs. We
Yeah.
got to get, eggs on it.
Fajofa too, right?
Yeah, farofa.
Yeah.
I do
Flour.
love farofa. Wow.
Yes.
Very cool. Some green stuff too, vegetables. So are very cool. It's a mix, man. Bacon's very nice.
Yeah.
man.
It's like a buffet all in one, huh?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Go to this, go to that.
Yep. And if you like cheese, Queijo Minas actually won the silver medal in the World Cheese Competition, second only to the French themselves this year.
Yeah.
And the cheese in Minas is worldwide. Excuse me. I think it should be known worldwide because it's just that good.
Winfield,
how do you know that, man?
My wife told me.
This guy knows everything.
It was an anecdote.
Nice.
But anyway, no, it's we could do a whole show on Mineiro food. That's how much I love it. It's one of those things where the cuisine is very much a part of the people, and it's integral to life here. One thing as well, cachaça, which is one of my personal favorites, is the liquor of Brazil. It's basically a sugar cane that has been run through a grinder, but it doesn't have any sweetness on the end typically. But one thing I've been discovering lately, Nathan, I've had about 10 different types since I've been here, and it hasn't been that long, so I'm not going to tell listeners how much I've been having every night. But
he just got in last night, everybody.
Wink, wink. Right? But what's really interesting is that the flavor profile goes from everything to kind of a clear rum, like sweetness wise, all the way up to a whiskey. And it's all the same type of liquor, but it's usually made on a farm, or it's not usually made for commercial production. Of course, you have Leblancs and Quintayum, the big names, but the ones I've been trying are much more artisanal. I don't know if you like cachaça, but maybe you have some idea about that.
Well, I love cachaça, man, but I try to avoid, man, because I got some bad histories about it. So I for now I'm the
tread
guy
lightly, listeners.
Well, one time back in, I don't know, 2011, 10 years ago, about something like that. I drunk with a friend of mine half of a bottle, something like this. And we got this gig that night, man. So when I take the guitar, to me was my guitar, man. People say that was another instrument. I was not playing guitar that night. So the gig was terrible, terrific performance. So since that day, I understand that it will not be a good idea drink cachaça in the day of work, man. So I'm more in the beers. I drink slowly, quiet. It's very cool. But cachaça is very cool, very nice. Sorry, I love it. We got this banana liquor that this flavor. I don't know if they are mixed. So I love it, man. And I got good memories from that. So this is it.
Definitely, and the beer scene, the artisanal beer scene in BH is very well developed. Actually, some of the best in Brazil. You have a lot of different mixtures, and it's interesting because If you like European styles of beer, Pilsner, Hefeweizen, which is more my speed. I'm not a big IPA person, or stouts or things of that nature. You have a lot of beers that really taste like they would in Europe. Same means of production. Of course, you have Brahma, Antarctica, Skoll, the kind of the big three. Your equivalent, Heineken is very popular as well. But if you're looking for craft beer, and I know there are quite a few listeners that enjoy beers that are hard to find or that aren't made for export, you can find a lot in Vega.
Yeah, yeah. Here we are very known for these brands that made their beers here, and especially I love Krug beer that is very famous here, and we got this walls and amazing too, but Krug is my preferred. I love it.
I've
H
actually
in the
got a.
beginning. Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No, I would just say I've actually got a bottle of Waltz right now that's chilling in my fridge. So don't tempt me in opening it while we're live.
Man, I was going to ask you because you said you tied in with your band, and it's a huge schedule, and you guys kind of travel around a bit. Is that within all of Minas, or do you guys travel around to the larger cities?
Well, we used to go here to Minas, sometimes in the year before the pandemic, we go out to another state 2 or 3 times in a year. So looking to our agenda now, but we don't have any gig or show scheduled for the next month. So I'm okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Things are definitely turning for the better, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I'm sure you guys will be back on the road and
Yeah.
traveling around. As COVID-19 pandemic really spread out and broke here in the US or news worldwide, we heard a lot about Brazil. And stop me at any time. I was kind of curious because I haven't been able to actually speak to someone who's from Brazil, who's lived through it, to kind of understand what it was like during the last year or so on the ground. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about your lockdown, what happened, all of that?
Well, here in my case was, as I said, we got when it started, man. The first week I looked to my next shows and all canceled, man, or postponed or canceled. So I think, okay, it will last only 1 month, 2 months. All right. So I locked me in with my girlfriend. We stay okay. But I think that it's hard to talk about COVID in Brazil and do not speak about the politicians, And I think that people made mistakes. I'm not talking about one guy it's right or another was wrong. My point of view is that people were dying, man, and we need to be smart. We got to have a plan, not to look to this virus and say, it's just a flu. What this kind of thing we heard here? Okay, for you for some people could be literally a flu. To other people, it wasn't a flu. Was cost her life. So I think that a lot of things could be avoided here in Brazil. We got this I don't know what every day, man. When we turn on TV, was a bad news all the time, are all around the world, man. And we got this more politicians talking different things every day too. So we need a hope message, man. We needed it. So we don't have it. In the first place, in the first time when it started, I as a Brazilian, I expected, man, something like we are together. This is time to fight this virus. It's not the time to think about other political visions, man. We need some help, some people that will you face it with us. So I get mad about it. So was another thing that put us in a state of anxiety, man. And too many people suffered with don't have jobs, to don't having uh, you know things to eat, to drink. Was very hard, man, for a lot of people. We got this in Brazil. That is this poor people. That's different in society. You know, um, too many with too many, and too many with less. So, uh, and this number of people needing some help grow are all, everywhere. So we look around, man, and we felt I felt, man, very sad, and I got a little bit desperate, anxiety, with a lot of anxiety. We are locked in your house. We are with your girlfriend all day long. The relationship was not so good, and and she had a lot of problems, even if that was not linked with the pandemic, but was a, a terrific year for her. So when we respect something coming from the government, we don't have, man, you know. But they did some things as this. They send money for some people. I want. I'm one this kind of people that could take the money because I don't uh, I don't know how um I live by shows, man. I'm
Yeah.
autonomous. You know,
Yeah.
so the government sent to us some money that helped me and helped me. I help a lot of friends of mine, people that don't have any choice, man. I got my parents that helped me a lot, man, with my bills, and but I have friends that don't have parents anymore. So was a guy that take his car and say I'm I'm working with Uber now,
Mhm.
and wasn't a door open for him. And this is it. I lost people that I met, musicians, guys that don't even saw her babies coming to this life. Was very sad, but Brazilian people are very strength people, man. We got this way of start again, man, starting over all the things and change our reality, you know. So I got this faith on it in the way that we we search for strength on the core of ourselves, man, and things resilience. That's I think that's the word.
Yeah.
Resilience. We are good on it.
No, exactly, and thank you for opening up about that. I know that's difficult to say all that on air, but it's important that people around the world realize that the pandemic affected everybody in a different way, and some
Yeah,
people were much more affected in terms of their livelihoods, in terms of their style of living, in terms of a variety of aspects. So thank you for shedding some light on that, because as Chris said, uh, what we heard about in the media uh, and was all negative. And of course, there's the virus is terrible, as you've just said. It's something that we hope is behind us now. But it's important that people are aware of what happened.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate you opening up about that. And I'm sorry to turn things political here. That's something we try to stay clear of.
yeah, man.
But
But
but to bring it back, man, I would love to know, like, walk us through that first gig you had back after COVID. I couldn't imagine how happy you probably were.
man, I was I was afraid as hell, man. When I getting home, I sitting on the couch and I said to myself, I get COVID tonight, man. No, but that don't happen. But I was so fucking afraid of this, man. Oh, sorry.
It's
But
okay.
I
No way.
can't sleep in that night, man. I can't sleep, man. I was, man, was too many people because that is an effect too of the pandemic situation. Is that we when you see people talking to each other without masks, even in a movie, I was, whoa, how strange these people talking closely, you
Right?
know?
Yeah.
And
6 feet, everybody. 6 feet.
exactly. So when I got to this stage and saw people, even in their tables with the social distance, um, I got all right, but oh man, I'm not okay, man. If someone do anything here, man, anything here, I will get it. So I played with mask. I think, whoa. But when I get in home, whoa, I take my shower and then I alcohol in all my body, and I get, man, I'm worried, man. I waited for 3 days to see if some symptoms will appear, and thank God nothing happens to me after this first gig.
Yeah, I remember the first time that I went out back into kind of a scene like that, like a club or something of that nature. And I was actually down in Haiti. Shout out to Cliff Leoto, who was our first guest on the podcast. And we went to this club that was outside, but it was just full of people. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, nobody here, because the vaccine was just being rolled out. It wasn't even open to people our age yet. So I thought, oh my, like this is going to be my downfall.
Yeah,
So I'm like standing there, like holding my bottle of.
I'm an outlaw, man. I'm an
Yeah,
outlaw.
exactly. I'm like, oh no! But the problem was I was having so much fun too. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Yes, like, it's been so long. I can't. So it was such a, as you said, you were so nervous but so happy at the same time. It's hard
Yeah,
to put into words.
yeah. You love people, but you can't touch them. It's very strange to live. In Brazil, we got this thing, man, to hug a lot. And, oh man, how I missed you, man. So what was strange? It was very strange to me.
No, definitely. And going back to Minas a bit, couple areas or cities with a very difficult history, as you mentioned earlier, that we don't have time to get into. But these cities were built by slaves, and they had a very difficult. I'm not going to go into further details, but Ouro Preto and Mariana, very famous cities, UNESCO World Heritage sites, both of them. But we need to be aware of what happened there. Tell us a little bit about those places, and if you like going there, or if you choose not to go there, how you feel about it.
Well, I love historic places, man. I love to read about it, to watching movies about history, and some things like that, like all those kind of stuff. When I think of Ouro Preto, it's a place that I did some shows there, and I never was in the places, that in the museums and all this stuff, all these things that sell it. First of all, because I think that in the first moment was because I don't have money to go there and let's tour in the city. But in the second moment, man, when I got this when I understand what happened there, I felt very uncomfortable. I don't like, to go there to think about these people that suffering that, and a city that was very glamorous churches and things. There is amazing, really amazing. It's a beautiful city. Go there. I'm not saying to not to go there, but I to myself I need to. I don't want it because was a lot of blood, man. Very. It's a page in the history of the world that do not brings me good feelings. So and I know other people that don't go there because of it to these things. We got the college there, universities, so there's a lot of young people. So it's famous because of the parties. Sometimes we go there because it's next to Belo Horizonte and people go there to parties. But for this tourism thing, I'm not on it because I feel sad, man. So well, this is Rio de Janeiro. It's still a bad one city that suffer was building with this suffering, historic suffering. You know.
No, thank you again for. I'm not, as Chris said before, I'm not trying to bring up bad things,
Oh,
but I
it's all right,
appreciate you.
man.
I appreciate your candor and being open and honest about it, because it is something that obviously nowadays we have much more knowledge and enlightenment about the past.
Yeah,
We've learned a lot from just human history in general, and as you said, it really is a beautiful place, but there is a very sad backstory behind it that
yeah.
we can't lose sight of. So that's important to keep in mind.
Yeah, because in that they maintain the slave quarters, the cells that they was there, the chains, all the stuff, the instruments that was used to punish them. It's to me it's very whoa. I don't want to see that, man. Even because of my color, I'm not well. I don't feel comfortable to that, man. On it.
No, and I remember seeing that exactly what you're talking about, the shackles and different. There are a lot of different houses open there where you can see, and you go into the basement and you see those things, and you can't unsee that. It's
Yeah,
something that you have with you, and it's history,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
something that we can. I mean, that's the only way that you
Yeah.
can sum it up.
But looking for a different point of view, I think that when we preserve some places like that, it's good because I don't need to go there to know that was a bad place to be. But some people maybe going to there and feeling that energy and knowing and looking to a place that a lot of people suffer there, man. A lot of people die there, man. So they can change their minds, their feeling about it. So it's an important place, all right. Again, I'm not saying to not go there, man. Go there if you want to. It's a very beautiful city, but I avoid.
I'm with you, Nathan. I completely agree because I think a lot of the times you need to see it to believe it. And,
Yeah,
sometimes there are other places around the world that are a black mark on humanity's past, but in a lot of ways, it's a benchmark to show where not to go or how things can lead in certain directions. So to have that as an option to even see, like Winfield was saying, part of history,
yeah,
it's good to have that option, not to just wipe over it. As sad as
yeah,
it might be, as horrific as it might be.
yeah.
Man, I feel like every time we come up on a conversation or a topic, we just get so dark. We're talking about COVID. We're talking about just,
But
so,
the world is more darker now, man, because ah, all
it
this
is.
situation.
It
But
is, but
art
at the
is
same time,
there. Yeah.
you know, we're thankful at least that this pandemic didn't happen 20, 30 years ago. Look what we're doing. We're having this conversation from around the world right now. So there is
Yeah,
some
man.
kind of outlet at least. So I got to be
Yeah,
grateful
we
for
learned
what
a
we
lot
have.
of stuff on this time,
Yeah,
don't
man.
you?
No, definitely. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what we strive for on this podcast, is to bring people who have a different viewpoint, but also a local perspective from a place that most people have never heard of.
Right.
So that's really what we strive to do here, and you've really captured that, Nathan. So thank you. So at the end of every show, we have what's called the lightning round, where we ask you 10 questions. So I'm hoping that you're ready for it. These questions have to do with travel and life. So are you ready to start?
Yeah, man.
Okay. One wish, what would it be?
uh, Traveling one place to
It can be travel, or it can just be related to life. It's up to you.
one wish. Whoa, I'm not ready to this.
That's all right.
Well,
You see, we went so dark, and now we're trying to bring it back
well,
to
all right, man.
the balance.
Well,
You know.
I think that one wish is to travel the world with music. I don't realize that yet, but it's a very nice. It's a dream that I have since I was a kid.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
it.
awesome. Well, which country would you like to visit the most, and why?
Well, I think about states because the music that I love was made here, there.
Hmm.
So I love blues. I love Jimi Hendrix. Uh, I love a lot of things there, man. I think that is very cool. I love Guns N' Roses, and all these amazing artists that you got here there. But I think about London too and Ireland. Okay, man. I'll pick up states, United States.
Well, we're ready to welcome you whenever you want to come up. So,
All right, thank you.
Always.
what's one thing in Brazil that you'd still really like to do?
Mm, I think that weather here is very nice, man. I love to walk on the street, go to some party or something, and watch the city. And I think that when we got the perfect weather, when it's not too cold but it's not too hot, and I love it, man. In most time of the year is like that. And I when I got those nights going to a show or coming back home, I think that I thank God this is very cool, man. I love it. And I know that in other parts of the world it's not like that, man. Or it's too hot or it's too cold, man. So I think that here is perfect.
You're exactly right. I was thinking the same thing walking around last night. It's just no snow, no
about
winter.
to
Yeah.
about after some
Yeah.
cachaça.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's the strangest thing you've eaten?
Mm, the strangest thing I eaten. Oh, I can't remember. Well, I don't like I don't know frogs, man. I
Ah,
really do
Sapo.
not like. I hate is a strong word, but I don't like it, man. Keep it away from me.
Keep it
For
away.
but yeah, but some I played in a state here that is a state that has Pantanal that is
Hmm.
famous here in Brazil, and I think in the world too.
Yeah.
They got
Brazilian
this.
Everglades. Sorry.
Yeah. Uh, so they have this Indian food and a lot of Indians through that land. And I some someday I was there touring, and when people give me, oh, take this chicken, chicken
Mhm.
wings. So whoa, very nice. And then people laugh at me and say that's not chicken, man. That it's frog, man. Was very I I get mad. But it was good. I like it, but I will never eat it again.
Well, that's par for the course. I've been tricked into eating various things, but as long as you survive to tell the tale. But what's what's your favorite thing about Brazil as a country?
Mm, football, people. I love people here. I think that sometimes I'm more shy and I prefer to not got a lot of people with me, but I recognize that this is very cool. The way that we relate with to each other. It's very nice, and I know that in different countries things are not like that. Especially
Uh,
in Asia or that oriental part of the globe.
no, you're right. That's true. At people, you can have a conversation with anybody. There isn't any pretense. It's not based on your status or your class, social class. People are very open to meeting and speaking with people. By and large, of course, that's not. I mean, obviously, every place has bad apples, but I've noticed that
Yeah,
even when I didn't speak the as much Portuguese as I do now, people would make an effort to try to communicate with you. So I think that's very, very important.
well, we are. I think that we are always ready to chat, man. To
Hmm.
teach you something, show you something we love here. It's very nice. I think that uh, it's different the way that we do these things here.
No, exactly. What is the must see attraction in Brazil uh, for you to recommend to travelers?
Mm, Minas, we got this music here, this music scene that is very cool. The food, but I will recommend a different place from than Rio de Janeiro e São Paulo. We got this town that I lived for about 4 years in the northeast of Brazil called Natal. It's a city. Natal means Christmas. So when you say Happy Christmas in English, here in Brazil we say Feliz Natal. Uh, I think that got this name because was when they started the foundation of the city was in December 25th, so they call it as Natal. And got amazing bitches. I don't know how to speak. Bitches,
Yeah, beaches. Yep.
bitches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beaches. Yep.
The people are very cool. They are different from us here in Minas Gerais, but they are very open. They are better than us to to communicate. They are very funny. The weather is good because it's sunny all the year. It's sun all the year. The beaches are amazing. We got in northeast of Brazil. It's famous about because of forró. That is a musical style musical from Brazil that started there, and it's amazing. You got this sanfona. How I spell sanfona? How I say sanfona? Accordion. Sorry, we got its music based on accordion and
Mm.
percussion, and it's very cool, man. Very nice to dance. So when you go to northeast of Brazil and you go to a forró, it is a style of music. It's good to if you are single to meet some girl dancing, and it's very nice. So I recommend Natal.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. And that you actually read my mind because I've been trying to get to the Northeast for a number of years, and Natal and Fortaleza as well has world class sand dunes. So you can go
Yeah,
ATVing, you can go sandboarding, you can literally do everything that you would do in the desert, all while looking at a gorgeous vista of the Atlantic Ocean. So really cool area to check out, and definitely at the top of my list.
On these sand dunes, they
Nice.
have this camel or dromedarium. I don't know how to say. Well, when you can go through the sand and feel like a personage of
camel?
the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like
Moses.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
What's one tip that you have for travelers?
Well, one tip in Brazil.
Or suggestion about that you recommend for people that have never been to Brazil?
Our food are very cool, are very nice. I love our food. It's very, very nice. And always to take care of your things, man. So I got two tips, one good and one bad. You know, people here, because of this poor situation, a lot of people try to make their lives by stealing. So it's never good to take to a place that you are not like on a bus station and let your things in the bench and go to buy your tickets. So we got this culture here. When I got to a bus station, even in the airport, man, I got my things with me, my guitar, my bag, you know, take the ticket, go back to the bench. Because it's here we say that the more security, better, you know. You will die by age, you know. So it's the second tip, man. So prove the food, that is very nice. Oh, go to a football game too, man. Any place, man. If it was on the Brazilian championship or in the lower leagues, man, are very cool. The food is very nice. The people are very funny.
We didn't even get to Galo or Cruzeiro, but we'll leave that for another time, huh?
Yeah. Well. We could be go if have another for soon. We'll go together.
Yes. No. Very nice. Yeah. What motivates you to travel?
Meet new cultures, new
very
people, learn different ways of life, man. I think that we are a little worlds, man. You know, you are, Chris are, I am. So it's a love to learn from people, and this motivates me to travel.
That's the perfect answer. And what do you recommend in terms of transportation around Brazil? Bus, rent a car, airplane?
Well, if you are with a Brazilian, I think that, of course, you got to make the count, man, about the distance and everything, because Brazil is like state, very, very big. So I recommend, if you are in a company of a Brazilian, I recommend to rent a car, man. It's very nice. It's very cool. We get in the city and you can go anywhere with your own foot and or tires. And if you are alone, I recommend airport and Uber when you are in town.
No, very good. And the final question: if there is one experience that you could relive in your life, what would it be?
Whoa.
We saved the best for last.
Whoa, man. I don't know. No.
I love when we get this reaction, man, because it's a thinker for sure. But yeah, it's a good question.
Well, I think that just one. Well,
it can be more.
I would say I think that the first time I got a guitar on my hands, my guitar that I earned. So Well, yeah, the time that my first guitar arrived in my home was very cool because we don't have money to pay it to me. My dad, I got a good life, but here in Brazil, things are more expensive. You know, when you got this uh, proportion of things, my dad never could give me a guitar, so an electric guitar. Sorry, but he gave me an acoustic. But when my electric guitar arrived, an uncle gave it to me as a present. Was amazing as a gift, and I was, oh man, was I one of the greatest days of my life, man. So one, I think that the second moment that I can remember was the, oh man, I will never, because he said to man. He said I don't want it to. Well, so I would say more two could be. The next one was the last day that I saw my grandma. I was practicing guitar in my living room, and she came, and she was a uh, Protestant, and she sit next to me and started to read the Bible, you know. And I kept going happy as hell because my grandma was hearing me to practice my guitar, and I was not bothering her. So it was amazing, that feeling. And was the last time I got in touch with her, and I loved her. Well, this is it. And the last one was when I entered Velotrol, when I joined the Velotrol, sorry, and I really started to live up for music, because before that I played with, I don't know, man, 10 bands here in town, 10 different artists, and I still need to work on a guitar shop, you know. So I got this two jobs way of life. So when I joined the Velotrol, as I said, is a big band here in the a huge band here in the town. I was okay to leave the other jobs, man, and live by music. That was a dream to me. So that's, I thank God a lot every day, man. Every time when I step on stage, I say thanks God, because I'm living a dream, and I'm living by rock and roll, man. This is not too easy. In the
No,
country
exactly.
of samba, in the country of samba, you know.
No, you really hit the nail on the head there, Nathan. All three really beautiful experiences, but it really brings together your passion of music, and you're able to follow your dream and make a living out of it. And a lot of people don't have that opportunity. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful to hear that story. And once again, thank you for your time today. The band is Velotrol. It's
Yeah.
great. Check it out. Follow it on Instagram. I had the privilege of hearing them live. Absolutely fantastic. And thank you for all of your insights today about Belo Horizonte and Minas. We've really enjoyed having you on the show.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, man. Thanks a lot to this opportunity to share my life with all your public. I'm very, very happy, and I'm very, proud of my history, and that as a human beings, we can get in touch with people that are too far from us, and share our experience. And this is amazing. Thanks a lot for inviting me. I'm very happy to know you guys, and I hope I see you soon here in Brazil or where you live, and drink some beer and cachaça.
You're on for that.
After a hike, man. After a hike.
Thanks so much. Take care, Nathan. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Man. Thanks.
Thank you. Valeu.
So without further ado, we're back with another fun fact about Brazil. Brazil actually has the largest number of uncontacted peoples in the world. And when we say uncontacted, anthropologists define that as people that have never seen other people apart from their own tribe. For a long time, we thought that Papua New Guinea held this title, but it turns out the Amazon is just denser than we thought. Till next time.
Well, there you have it. Another fun fact about a locale unknown. Thank you, Winfield, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode with us. We started this podcast in the hopes of shedding some light on the various destinations out there in the world that might be more off the beaten path. And we're hoping we're accomplishing that goal by bringing on our friends and our various guests to give us some insight about their various locations and what to do in the areas. So if you like what you hear, make sure that you follow us on all the podcast platforms as well as the social media platforms out there, because we're back every single week. I wouldn't want you to miss what we have coming up. We already have a couple great guests in the pipeline that we are very excited for, and I think you guys will be too. So we are on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on all the other platforms. Locales Unknown. Go ahead and hit the search. When you find us, be sure to hit the follow or subscribe button. And if you're an Apple Podcast user out there, please let us know how we're doing. We're building this for you guys. So scroll down to the bottom of Apple Podcasts and go ahead and leave us a review and maybe some comments there. Also on social media, we are very active on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. We have our YouTube channel, so feel free to go ahead and drop us a line. We have our website, localesunknown.com. You can find all of our episodes there. And if you want to reach us directly, we have our email address, contact@localesunknown.com. Maybe you have some suggestions for us. Maybe you want to introduce us to someone that you think might be a great fit for the show. We are all ears. So once again, thank you so much for listening. We'll be right back here next week with another great episode somewhere out there in the world. Stay tuned.